now is each participant to grab their chair in a moment and make a circle right here. And then I'd like observers to move a little bit closer so that you can watch the seminar. Okay? All right, go ahead. All right, so on the board is our guiding question for this discussion, and the guiding question I chose to use is it right to negate a potential life for benefits that are unproven? And before we respond to that question, I want to know if there's any questions about what it means.
What's negate?
Yeah.
Negate means like end or nullify, make it cease to exist. Okay? Any other questions about that question? All right, then. I'm going to open that question to the group. Whoever wants to begin may begin.
I think that it is okay to do it because it's a potential life, but it's not a life yet. So it's not really ending a life. It's just.
I don't think it's right because, like, it said in the text that embryonic cells haven't really helped anyone yet. So, like, if you're killing a potential life and it's not even gonna save, like, you know, the life that you wanted to save, I don't think it's worth, you know, killing that potential life.
Can you find where you found
It was on page 2. It said embryonic stem cells have not helped a single human patient or demonstrated any therapeutic benefit. It's in the 8th paragraph.
I have a question. It says that on the first page that they're taken from surplus eggs left over from featured fertilization, and that usually if they don't use them for research, that they just get thrown away. So if that's what happens, I think it's okay because they weren't going to be used for anything anyways, and they were just going to be discarded and just not ever going to be alive anyway. So it seems like if that's what is happening, then it's not actually going to be a potential life anyway anymore.
Also, page 2 in the 5th paragraph at the very end, it said that mouse embryonic cells, stem cells, have been converted into specialized cell types and transplanted into animals to release symptoms of spinal cord injury and Parkinson's disease. So, that, I don't know, I think that doesn't really prove that it might work in us as far as maybe trying to heal some things for us, but I think that it's definitely a good start to kind of, so I would say that it is kind of, not necessarily maybe that we should do it right now, like just having that, but I think that we should, as far as me. Yeah. We should, yes, we should.
How do the rest of you feel about them being discarded? Do you agree with Kaylee that because they're being discarded they should be used or not?
I agree.
Well, it says in the first paragraph on the second page that they can be frozen and stored. Like, if they can be donated for research, can't they be, like, donated to like, other mothers who, like, can't, like, for fathers who can't, like, you know.
But that's like starting a life, and they're potentially maybe saving a life. So saving a life, I think it outweighs like starting a new one.
There's 400,000 embryos that are stored, and only 11,000 are used for research. That's enough to give to other people. Yeah.
How many stem cell lines are currently being used for research? 15. Where do you find that?
On page.
Yeah, this is page 3.
Page 3, it says the NIH Human Embryonic Stem Cell Registry lists just 15 eligible lines as being available for research.
I'd like to comment on how a lot of the issues talked about in the article had to do with the Bush administration. And I'd be interested to know how you guys felt, the writer of this article felt about the Bush administration. What was their opinion, do you think?
I don't know, they talked about, it talks about how a lot of people are skeptical of what the Bush administration said, so it seems like maybe they might be too, because they focused on that. Like it says that how President Bush claimed there were about 60 embryonic stem cell lines eligible for funding, and then they said there were really only 15. So yeah.
I'd like to comment on page 4. Is this an opinion of an actual person? At the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth paragraph at the end, it says, millions of people will suffer if Bush wins and keeps restricting it, meaning the stem cell research. And it's sad that the leader of the country is going against the best interest of American families. I think that's interesting how it's representing the other opinion of people that actually need these treatments.
What do you all think about that that quote, that millions of people will suffer?
need these treatments.
Pardon?
They need stem cell treatments.
Like
Proving that it'll work.
Or, well,
the paragraph before that says,
yeah.
it's about a lady who she's paralyzed, I think. Yeah, she's paralyzed, and there's nothing to help her unless they find some way to help her with stem cells. So she's an advocate for the research.
Bush isn't against adult stem cells, is he? No, right?
Adult stem cells are already dead.
But the embryonic hasn't really showed any results or anything yet, so.
That's the point.
Because they haven't been able to research it at all.
Bush is stopping the research. He's not just.
I have some evidence from the text to support the things that you're saying.
I have a clarifying question. So it says, some scientists think it might be possible to reprogram adult stem cells back to an embryonic cell-like state. Are they sure that they can do that?
What do we think?
I'm not sure because they can't research.
Another research, so we can find out.
Bush restricting it. It says right here on the third page in the second paragraph, it says, we will not know which stem cells, adult or embryonic, are most useful in treating a particular disease without side-by-side comparison of adult and embryonic stem cells. That's basically saying that they need the research for.
So you think it's right that he's stopping the research? You think that it should keep going?
I think that the research should keep going because it sounds like if we could figure out what we can do with them, then we could cure a lot of diseases. But then also at the same time, I feel like we shouldn't use ones that might possibly be used like to create a life. We should just try and use the ones that are going to be thrown away in the end.
Is there anybody who's like 100% against it?
It's kind of a lose-lose situation. Like, well, if it doesn't work, like, you're just killing two lives. But, like, right now it's kind of, you lose a life, you'll gain another. But, like, if it doesn't work, it's you're losing two instead of just one.
It's true that it loses now, but like if they actually find something and they actually progress, it could like save life in the future. So does that mean it's like a good thing? Or is it a bad thing?
Well, I'd like to reprise what we said earlier. It says, and if you look on the third page, in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in the 6th paragraph, and maybe we may have already discussed this, but it says, finally, in answer to those who consider destruction of an embryo unjustified, even if it saves a life, those favoring embryonic stem cell research point out that IVF-created embryos often get discarded, so they should be put to use rather than wasted.
I agree with that. But if they're going to just be thrown away, then you might as well use them for some kind of research.
What's the other perspective?
This is like a potential child, a potential person that could have been like a person living, and but they then they can't exist because we just destroyed their embryo. So it's kind of a big deal, I think. Like if you think about it, like that could have been a person. Like what would that person have been? Like, but you just destroyed it. So. then also it says on page 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs, it says, it makes it sound like it's not, I don't know, it makes it sound like it's not really like destroying a life, because it says they make it sound like there are people growing out in warehouses that we take body parts from. Then they're talking about how it's just like any other cell that they cut into during surgery. So, I don't know, it's kind of confusing because it doesn't talk about how, like, if it really is a potential life or not.
I'd like to reference that same paragraph, the fourth one down. It says, many disease sufferers consider embryonic stem cells to be their only lifeline. So, like, if you were one of these people that thought that you would be able to live through this research, and that might be your only hope, how do you think your opinion would change if you were on the complete other side of the argument?
Which side?
The other side saying that it would be unsafe, or that is it inhumane to kill embryos?
Well, I think anybody in the position of possibly, dying isn't going to, want to just sit around and wait to die. They are probably going to want, a chance to live. So I think anyone who's in that kind of position is going to want something to be done to, help them out. So.
Can anybody identify for the group what the ethical question really at the core of this controversy is?
When does life begin?
Can you elaborate on it?
Does life start as an embryo, or do you develop, or do you become like actually alive, like after that, after you develop?
And what are the perspectives represented in this text?
Well, the people on the side supporting stem cell research are saying that you're not alive as an embryo, but the other people are saying that you are, or that the embryo is alive, a real person, and that would be pretty much like killing someone.
I think there's another side where they think the opinion that even if it's not like a person yet, or they're not alive yet, it could have been a person.